Hey, good morning. How are you doing? Thanks for streaming with us. We really appreciate it. Summer just doesn't want to give up, just continues to roll on. I mean, this is about as warm as it gets for this time of the year. I think I've been saying that for the last couple of weeks. I don't see the pattern really changing very much at all. The best that we can hope for rain is like a long shot. I'll show you the maps here in just a minute. And I don't know what's going to break this. Usually when we start off like this in October and it's this warm, it'll usually end in grand fashion. And what I mean by that is by the end of the month, there will likely be some kind of a really strong cold front pattern shift, and things will change just all of a sudden. That's the way I kind of see things working out. Now, that's just off the top of my head. I see no indications of that whatsoever, but I do think that's probably what will happen as we get towards the end of the month. Okay, very warm afternoons. The mornings have been very comfortable, but the afternoons, very warm this week. I think the dry conditions continue. I'll show you why coming up here in just a second. And next week, cold front, but very weak. It looks like just really weak. Not even worth really mentioning. Okay, here's David. If you've watched these live streams, you know David, he's a big viewer, and this is what David says, David Bellis. What did the vegans say? I made a big mistake. Okay. But, you know, I almost have to spell that out because of the way it's, I made a big and then M-I-S-S-E-D, steak. Ah, that's pretty good, David. You never let us down. And by the way, Milton, big hurricane. I'll talk about that here in just a second. Let's see how much time I got. I got time. Okay. Outside, we've got fair weather cumulus. 87 degrees is the current temperature. By noon, we'll be around 88, 89. Normal low for this time of the year, 64. Our low this morning was 68. So the mornings have been really nice. If you're out there early, if you want to, you know, do your 3 mile, 4 mile run or whatever, that's the time to do it. Record low 43 in 1964. Your record high 99. Way back in 1937. Real beautiful view here out of northern Bexar County looking northward. Temperatures this afternoon again topping out mid-90s, 94 to 95 degrees under mostly sunny skies this afternoon. Really pretty sky out there, just no rain. All right, let's see. Let's take a look at these temperatures. Right now, already at 87. Gonzales, 88. Pleasanton, 88. Now, you'll notice right along 90 out west and then along the hill country, temperatures not nearly as warm. Up around Fredericksburg, Kerrville, Uvalde, lower 80s out there. So, really nice. Partly cloudy skies to mostly sunny. Just depends on where you're at. All right, let's talk about Milton. Milton is a big hurricane. Oh, wow. Man, it has strengthened rapidly in the last 6 hours. When I came into work this morning, well, I guess that was more than 6 hours ago. It was about 3 o'clock, 3 something this morning. It was a 100-mile-per-hour hurricane. Milton is a 160-mile-per-hour hurricane. Big, nice eye, and it's getting more and more well-defined, very symmetrical. And the upper-level environment looks like it's very pristine. Now, I think as Milton gets closer to Florida, there will likely be a little bit more shear. So Milton probably won't be as strong as it is right now. And just by looking at satellite imagery, I don't think that wind field takes up a lot of real estate. I think it's relatively small. But boy, if you're in there close to that eye, you've got maximum sustained winds at 160 with gusts. I don't know what the wind gusts are. I would say 180, 190, something like that. That's a very strong hurricane. Okay, let's take a look at the path. This time of the year, we've got a really strong flow from west to east. And so it looks like that's exactly what's going to happen in the short run. Going to come very close to the northern coast of Mexico. Probably will not make landfall, but close enough that it will cause probably Category 3 winds on Mexico, maybe even a little bit stronger than that on the northern Yucatan. And then we'll continue to move off to the north. By tomorrow morning, still forecast to be a 160-mile-per-hour Cat 5 hurricane, moving off to the north and east. And this is where it gets really tricky. Wednesday morning should be a Category 4. Like I said, probably will weaken a little bit, but Category 4 hurricane with 145-mile-per-hour winds and headed right towards Tampa, Florida. If this is just to the north of Tampa, they're going to have a tremendous storm surge into Tampa itself. If it's more south like Sarasota or Bradenton, then probably not as big of a storm surge there in Tampa. But boy, is it going to be a close call. The National Hurricane Center has it making landfall as a Category 4 hurricane right over Tampa, Florida, and that's probably going to be about right, very close to Tampa there. And so tornadoes, of course, dangerous winds, lots of rainfall, and big storm surge. So that's just horrible for the central portions of Florida there. And let's see, where is Orlando? Should come pretty close to Orlando. 3 still is a major hurricane, is a Category 3 hurricane. Moving pretty quick, it looks like. And then we'll move out into the Atlantic. So that's the last thing Florida needed, really anywhere. Okay, so this is what's going on. So we got all this development, this big hurricane in the Gulf of Mexico. So at the surface, when we have a hurricane in the Gulf and it's not headed in this direction, that usually means dry for us, and that's exactly what's happening. Plus, aloft in the upper levels, mid-levels of the atmosphere, we've got a big ridge of high pressure kind of off to the west that gives us a northerly flow, and boy, that is a really dry pattern for us, and that's why it's one of the reasons why it has just been so dry, and I just don't see this changing very much. The best that we can hope for is that one of these Pacific systems is strong enough that it will flatten out the ridge and then move towards Texas and give us a chance for rain. But I just don't see a really good chance of that happening. Maybe sometime next week, but at this point I'm not biting off because there hadn't been a lot of consistency with these computer models. But I think maybe sometime next week we might have a slight chance for some rain. But right now, that's just the best that we can do. I just don't see really good chances. Okay, so here we go with the Futurecast and what I think is going to happen for the rest of the day today. Again, it is going to be very warm. High temperatures today in the mid-90s, around 94, 95. Lots of sunshine, mostly sunny skies. And then tomorrow, guess what? We're in the mid-90s again. The difference is tomorrow, though. Today we're not gonna come close to a record. Tomorrow the record high is 95. So tomorrow we've got that as a KENS 5 weather impact alert day because we're going to be right there, very close to records. Plus, this time of the year when it's this hot, just got to give a reminder to folks to take it easy. If you got to work a lot outdoors or something, you can still get dehydrated and overdo it. So for the rest of the week, 94, 95, Friday 92, over the weekend lower 90s. Little weak frontal boundary is going to come in. Computer models are kind of all over the place. Anywhere from the 14th to the 17th, sometime next week, could have a cold front that comes in. I'm keeping the wind southerly for now until I can narrow that down because it's just all over. But even if a cool front does come in, I just don't see a lot of cooling and I don't see a really good chance for rain, and not at this point. So I'm going to leave that out. Partly cloudy skies to mostly sunny for next week with high temperatures in the low 90s. I think that's about right. And unfortunately, just hanging on to temperatures above normal. The mornings are going to be really nice. Matter of fact, it wouldn't surprise me a bit. Some mornings next week if the lows weren't in the lower to mid 60s. So, that's nice. So we'll take that. But otherwise, it's hard for us to buy a drop of rain these days, and temperatures way above average. If you're a pool fan, I guess you're loving it. So, but anyway, that's the way I see it. Let's see, we got one state. Let's see. Okay, I think that'll do it for us. I've got to go do the noon show. Make sure and watch us at 4, 5, 6, and 10, and I'll be back tomorrow morning. All right. Thank you so much for streaming with us. We really appreciate it, and we'll see you later.